Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about how you can leverage Service CRM, Parts Request Manager, and eSign to optimize your service departments. I'm Allison Miller, Sales Engineer for IDS. I started in the RV industry several years ago as a controller and worked my way up to General Manager of a multi-location RV dealership just before joining IDS in 2022. A few quick notes before we begin. Today's webinar will be recorded and we'll send you a link to the recording afterwards via email for easy sharing. During the presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A window and put them in the chat, and I'll address them at the end if we have time. Any questions we don't get to, we'll follow up with afterwards. And lastly, your feedback really matters to us, so please take a moment to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar. Today I'm going to give a brief introduction of IDS and what we've been cooking up. We'll introduce you to each of these three products, and then we'll jump into a live demo. Depending on time at the end, I'll either answer some questions or we'll follow up with those after the fact. I know many of you on the call today are current customers, some of you for decades. For those of you who are less familiar with us, we are a team of RV and marine industry experts with over 30 years of experience working with dealers across North America to offer a fully integrated dealer management system with the goal of creating a seamless flow of information between your departments. We see ourselves not just as a software provider, but also as your partner in navigating the complexities of managing RV and marine dealerships. That's why I'm excited to announce our 2024 user conference, which will be held in sunny Tampa, Florida next February. Attendees will be exposed to several training events, have an opportunity to meet with experts, support experts one-on-one, and gain insightful knowledge about new technology and industry trends. Plus, you'll have the opportunity to network with other dealers and share best practices. By attending this webinar today, you are eligible for a $50 per person discount off the registration fee if you register today, so don't delay. Okay, so let's talk about what you came for. But first, before we look at these three products, I want to start with the big picture. IDS 360 is a suite of web-based workflow solutions that you can use on any device, anywhere with a web browser and an internet connection. Product updates are released automatically, saving you the hassle of managing releases and ensuring you always have the latest and greatest. These are intended to be companion products to G2 with two-way data integration to make sure your data is always where you need it, when you need it. Designed for service advisors and service writers, their managers, and internal stakeholders, Service CRM is an all-in-one communication platform designed to help you solve some of your biggest communication challenges and move from reactive to proactive communication with your customers. We do this by leveraging event-based workflow automations, automatic text messages, and task management, and providing visibility into all of your customers' interactions with the service department. Parts Request Manager leverages Service CRM workflow automations and digitizes the part request process. It provides a simple way for technicians to request parts and communicate with the parts department, all without leaving their bay. With eSign, you can email estimates and work orders directly to your customers from the DMS and from Service Mobile, the Service Mobile app, giving service departments the ability to quickly capture electronic signatures and automatically save those signed documents to your DMS. Now, I'm a visual person, so I like to see how all the pieces fit together. What you'll see in the demo today is generally going to follow this workflow, where a technician requests a part from their Service Mobile app. The parts department is then going to research that part and they're going to submit it to the service advisor. The service advisor is then going to obtain the necessary approvals. Today we'll obtain customer approval via eSign. Once this all happens, we will have the system will add the part to the work order and even create a special order if needed. And at that point, parts will be notified of that approval and they'll go ahead and pull the part and order it. Before we go into the demo, I have one more slide I want to share with you because I want to show you that we're making investments in ensuring that we capture the entire customer journey from appointment to payments in our online product suite. Service CRM, Parts Request Manager, eSign, and online payments are the workflow products we currently have available, and we will continue to build out this end-to-end workflow. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the demo itself. I'm going to start with Service CRM. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen Service CRM before, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of the Service CRM product, and then for there, we'll go over to submitting that part request and walking through our workflow. We're going to start our Service CRM journey here in the My Work page. So as a user of this system, I might be a service advisor, or I might be another internal stakeholder like a parts person or a warranty person. The My Work page, this is really my to-do list. So this is my list of tasks that I need to complete. And you can see here, I've got a list of several example tasks. I need to call the customer. I need to text the customer. All these follow-ups that I need to do. So this helps keep me organized, gets those sticky notes off my computer and off my desktop, and instead organizes everything into one place. So for each particular action item, an example is a customer welcome message here. I can open up this message. This is a templated message that the system generated for me automatically. I can open this message. I can add an additional personalization to it if I want. And then it's as simple as saying, okay, send this message, complete this task. Alternatively, from this screen, if I can go ahead and complete this task and I don't need to review it, I know I don't need to add any additional text to the message, for example, then I can just send the message and complete the task right from these three dots on the far right-hand side. You see I've got a couple other options as well. We do have several different task types. So a task might be to call the customer, as in this example here. It might be to text the customer, or it could just be an FYI, just letting me know, hey, this work order has been finalized, and then I need to take whatever the next steps are, which may be in the system, they may be notification-wise, or it might be, hey, I need to go, need to go QA this unit. What drives these tasks is the follow-up schedules. The follow-up schedules is really the rules engine behind those tasks. So this is that event-based workflow automation that I mentioned earlier. So what we do here is we have a list of rules based on different triggers. And then for each trigger, you can create different follow-ups. And then it's up to each dealership to decide. We'll provide you with a base list of here's standard follow-ups, and then each dealership gets to decide for themselves what they want to enable, disable. If they want to create their own custom follow-up schedules, that's totally fine too. And so just looking at one follow-up schedule as an example to give you an idea of how these work. In this particular example, the event or the trigger is that a work order was created. In this case, the default is an external work order, external or warranty, because this was designed as a customer CRM tool, but we do have the ability to trigger off of internal work orders as well. So here you can see the list of all the different events that you can trigger off of and create a follow-up task or create an automatic text message off of. And I'll scroll down as well so you can see a little bit further what the rest of the options are. So some common automations that we see here are things like an appointment confirmation text, an appointment reminder text, an appointment change text, things like that that are really easy to automate. And then we can also get really granular as well. So you'll notice that two of the options here are work order status change and job status change. So that will trigger off of your unique list of work order statuses and job statuses that you have built into your DMS. All of these can be a trigger for a follow-up event. And that follow-up event can be a task, an email, or a text message to the customer. So I'm going to go, we'll look at this particular event is a work order being created. And off of this one event, we have 4 different examples of the types of tasks we can create. So I'm just going to look at a couple of them. The first one is a customer welcome message. So if I drill into this, this is what that template message looks like. So if you remember on the My Work page, I had a task that said send a customer a welcome message. This is that template here. We use tokens to autofill things like the customer's name and our name. And then we have different action types here. So for this one, the action type is to send a text message. So rather than send an automatic text message to the customer telling them, telling them, hi, welcome, thank you for bringing your unit in for service, maybe we want the service advisor to control the timing of that. So in this case, we create a task for them to send a message, but all they have to do is click send the message, complete the task. So we do the bulk of the work for them. We just allow them to control the timing and even the messaging if they want. We also can create recurring follow-ups. So this one's really key in filling in the communication gap, especially during COVID and with supply chain issues. We saw a lot of delays with getting parts. And one of the biggest pain points for customers is that, they might be waiting 6 weeks or even 6 months for a part, and they just don't hear from anybody during that time. So in order to help fill that gap, we can create a recurring follow-up. You can specify the number of days you want that follow-up to recur, and the system will say, okay, if you haven't reached out to your customer in X number of days, in this case 14 days, then it's going to create a task saying, hey, you need to follow up with your customer, even if it's just to tell them we're still waiting on your part. So I like to call this the no update update. We haven't forgotten about you. We're still just waiting for your part. And then lastly, if we want to send it as an automatic text message, then that's what this template looks like here. So the title only applies to how it shows up in our CRM. What the customer will see is this particular message with the token fields automatically filled in, and then we can remind after a certain number of days too, so we can delay this. This is helpful for appointment reminders as well. We can send an appointment reminder, and you can specify the number of days prior to the appointment that you'd like that reminder to go out. So that is follow-up schedules. Now let's take a look at the customers. So the customer list here is going to show me all my customers that I have active work orders with by default, but I can search my full customer list. And I can also pin customers to the top. So I have some of my customers that I'm working most closely with pinned to the top. From here, I can send a text message to a customer just by clicking here. I can create, as a user, I can create my own template messages. The follow-up schedules are set at the dealership level, so that requires manager level permission to set those up. But as a user, I can use text message templates as well to just make my job a little bit easier. And then from here, I can also create a task. And this I like to use in the context of when we are taking messages for a service advisor, either the front desk receptionist, or if we have a service receptionist, or just whoever answers the phone. Oftentimes those messages are captured and sent via email, or sometimes there's a call log that's kept, or even just good old-fashioned sticky notes. So what we can do here is we can actually create a task for that callback and have the task be, hey, call this customer, provide their information. It's going to associate it with that customer. So I'll be able to click on that customer, go right to their phone number and click and call them. And this way we now have a digital log within our CRM of all the people we need to call back. So let's take a look at customer Mark Herder, his customer record. So what you'll see here in the top section is just going to be his basic contact, some basic contact information. This is all pulling from G2 from the Maintain Customers page. And then we also have the ability to establish his sentiment. We have the ability to establish customer sentiment, whether he's angry, happy, or neutral. We do have do not text enabled in here as well. So down below you can see my text thread with Mark texting back and forth. But if Mark were to text me the word stop, then it would actually prevent me from sending him future text messages. Alternatively, I can unsubscribe him, and when I do that, it's going to show that texting was unsubscribed. It's going to log that it was unsubscribed. and until I resubscribe it. If the customer unsubscribes themselves, only they can resubscribe themselves by texting the word start. We can also sync your email. So regardless of if you send and receive all of your emails out of Outlook, you can still continue to do that. But by syncing your email, what it'll do is it will bring in all the emails that are between you and your customer based on that customer's email address in the system, so that you basically have a focused inbox just for that customer. And every email sent and received, because this is syncing with your email server, whether you send it out of the CRM or not, it's going to sync every email you send and receive, and it's going to show it here on the email tab. I can see my open tasks for this customer, so I can see that I owe him some follow-ups. Or actually, Kurt owes him some follow-ups. So this avatar indicates who the owner of that particular task is. I can also see comments related to this customer. So this isn't going to be job level, work order level comments. This is going to be customer level comments. And actually, this syncs with our sales CRM product, which we're not demoing today. But in this case, I have a note from a salesperson saying, letting me know, hey, I'm looking to upsell this guy, so let me know if he schedules an appointment. So just kind of a sneak peek there on how sales and service CRM can work together. Next up is the activity log. So as we've been performing the work for the customer, we still create the work order in G2, we still edit the work order in G2 for the most part, and we still complete the work order in G2. But now every change that's happening is being logged within the CRM. And so the communications, all of the work order and job status changes, any tasks that are completed, appointments that are scheduled, rescheduled, parts that have been requested, all being logged within the CRM. So now we've got this really powerful audit trail where we can see exactly what's going on with this customer in a time and date stamped way. The service history, that's just going to show exactly what it sounds like, the history for this customer of all completed work orders and jobs, in case I need to drill into that from here. And then you'll notice that these work order numbers are hyperlinked. We also have the ability to view work orders on the web. So we're doing all of our editing from G2, but we do have the ability to view the complete work order details right here from the web, including all the job lines, and I can drill into the job line details. So if I just want to look and see the details of a work order, I don't need to go back to G2 to do that. And then lastly, in our active work tab, here we can see what units the customer owns, what open work orders they've got. Again, I can drill into these work orders. We also have just completed a two-way sync. Looks like I don't have a comment here for Mark, but we just completed a two-way sync of, there we go, between Service CRM and G2. So any work order comments or job comments that are added to the work order in G2 will show here, and we can add comments from here as well, and they will sync back to the work order in G2. Pretty excited about that one because it really helps reduce the workload for our service advisors who need to make sure that they're documenting everything in all the right places. So here we can also see any open estimates, appointments, special orders, and manufacturer warranties that this customer has as well. We can click to call, so this will prompt me to leverage Teams on my computer to call the customer. Or if we don't have a click to call system on our computer, that's fine. I can still click on this phone number and just log it as a phone call. And so what we want to be capturing here is we want to be texting with the customer, emailing with the customer, and then logging our phone calls as well. So we've got all of that in one place. That takes us over to the feed. So the feed is just like the customer feed, but now it's the full activity feed. So this is going to show me for all customers, all activity. Now by default, it's showing me my activity for today. So I'll just kind of slowly scroll down. I can filter this by keyword. I can filter it by activity type. So just today, I can get a glance at all the activity that's going on. I've had several several jobs that have been completed. So my techs have been clocking in and out of jobs, getting them done. I've completed a lot of tasks today, requested some parts. So we can see all that detail here. I can expand to see even more detail, and this list is fully exportable. If I'm a manager, maybe I've taken an escalation, then I want to see all activity for all users. So I have the ability to go to all users here. This is going to show me all of my activity for today. But then I can also search this list. Let's say I take a phone call from an upset customer, and in just a few seconds, I can say, okay, what's going on with customer Gribble? Show me the last 30 days. And now I can see everything that's going on with anything related to Gribble in the last 30 days. So I can get a quick at a glance and see what's going on, see who's been messaging them. So a common refrain I would get as a general manager was I'd get a phone call from a customer and they would say, I haven't heard from anybody in 3 weeks. So now I can go here and I can see that we sent them a text update and that we had a phone call with them. I know without having to go around and ask 2 or 3 different people what's going on with this customer, I can see exactly what we've communicated with them and what work has been completed. And then again, I can export this to Excel as well for easy access should we need it. Really quick, I'll just expand that. So then we've got all the activity, all the detail, time log stamped by user and associated back with a parent record. Okay, so lastly for Service CRM, we have the dashboard. The dashboard gives us a quick view of any unanswered text communications, anything that's overdue. This is my demo account, so I've got a few overdue tasks. And then I can click on this too, and it'll take me to the related data. So as a user, I can use this to check in and say, okay, are there any text messages I've missed? Speaking of messages, we do also have the ability to leverage the Chrome browser pop-ups. So in addition to getting updates in our feed and getting an email notification that there is a new inbound message, we also can get a pop-up notification just like you would get when you get an email in Outlook. So your Chrome browser would give you a pop-up notification, and that works on mobile devices as well. So you can get immediately notified when you have a new message come in. And then the detail view, this is going to give managers the ability to really see how their users are using the system. You know, are they sending messages and receiving messages? And just make sure that we don't have anybody with like a lot of overdue tasks. So just a way kind of to passively keep a track of our team and make sure that everybody's being responsive and using the system fully. Okay. So now that we've done that quick overview of Service CRM, let's go ahead and walk through a full parts request workflow. So that's actually going to start in Service Mobile. And so let me pull up my mobile app here. Okay, so coming back to our, there we go. I'm going to re-mirror my tablet here. So Service Mobile is Service Mobile app works on iPhone and Android. I'll go ahead and restart my session here. And this is where the technician is really going to do the bulk of their work, clock in, clock out, take pictures, as well as take their job notes as well. I'm going to go ahead and just reboot my technology and see if I can't get this to load back up. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so now you all should be able to see my Service Mobile app home screen, and I'm going to go ahead and go into my time clock. So I've already clocked into this job for Mark. And here, what I'm going to do is from the 3 dots up in the top right-hand corner, I can edit it to add my job notes. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go in and request a part. And I just realized, so that's fine. This job will work. Okay, so we're gonna go in and we're gonna request a part. That's gonna take us to this parts request screen. So now we're going to choose a type and subtype. And you can see the list here. So there's kind of a pre-made list, but dealers will have the ability to edit this list as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab an item from my list. And one, and then I'm going to give a description. I need a hitch pin. I can provide measurements if needed, if applicable, as well as color. And then I can go ahead and add a photo. So here, I'm going to take a photo of what I need, either of the part that I need or the area of the unit. Attach that. I can attach multiple photos. I can rename it if I need to. And then here I can click add more parts in the bottom right hand corner, which will just take me to another part request form, and I can submit multiple at once. Or I'm going to click the arrow in the top right hand corner. This is going to show me a list of all the parts I'm requesting. I can review the detail if I need to, and I'm going to go ahead and click submit. All right, so my part request has been successfully submitted. At this point, I can go back to, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and clock out on hold for, I meant to say on hold for parts, which would prompt me to request a part. And if I go back to my home screen, I can go to the part request list. And this is going to show me a list of all the parts I've requested and what their current status is. In addition to that, so if I drill into one of these, for example, so it shows me the current status, I can view the detail of that part request, which now has a part number added to it. And then I also can add comments from here as well. So this is where I can message back and forth with the parts department. And so I can add a comment here, hey, I need this ASAP. They can comment from the parts request manager and say, we need measurements or we need better pictures or whatever it may be. And then I can get notified of a new comment as long as I make sure that I have notifications enabled in my Service mobile app. Then I can get a pop-up notification just like I do for my other apps, letting me know that I have a new part request. Okay, so from here, we're going to go back over to Part Request Manager. I'm going to minimize my Service mobile screen and go back to our 360 environment. So now everyone should be able to see my part request feed. I'm going to give it a quick refresh. Okay. And here we have a new part request that just came in for our customer Mark Herder, part request number 200. So you'll remember the next step of this is that the parts department, they're going to review this part request and do some research on it. So here, as a parts department, I've got a list of all of my incoming part requests and what their current statuses are. I can view the work order from here or the job, or I can click on the part request itself, and it's going to open up the part request. I also have different saved views that I can create. So if my job is I just want to manage all the incoming part requests from the if I want to manage all the incoming part requests from the technicians, then I'm just going to look at pending, right? If I'm the person who's going to pull the parts or order the parts, then I just want to look at a status of approved. And then I can create that as a saved view so that I come in here and it just shows me everything that's pending or everything that's approved. So lots of different ways we can sort and filter this data. Right now, I'm just showing all, and I'm sorting it newest at the top. So that new request that just came in is right at the top. So by clicking on the part request number, it's going to open that request. This is pulling in all the information from the request that I just submitted. And from here, I need to fill in 3 pieces of information at minimum before I can submit this on to the next step. So the first is the part number. So I can actually search by part number or description in here. So if I just start to type my description of what I'm looking for, then it's going to search by description. And then I'll go ahead and grab a hitch pin. As soon as I do that, it's going to show me my quantity on hand, my unit price, and then what my total price is based on that quantity on hand. And this is also going to be based on the bill type, which is external. So this will be our full list price. You'll notice that the description updated from what the technician put in the request to the system description for that part number. And then I need to give it an expected date. So this is something that we have in stock, which means we can get it to them right now today. And then we do also require vendor part number, so that in the event it needs to be ordered, this will flow right through all the way to the work order, the special order, and the purchase order. Down below, you'll see the picture that we uploaded, as well as any comments that the technician had entered. If I had put a comment, I would be able to see it here. And we can view a history log showing, as we work this through the process, showing exactly who did what and when. That logging is important because we'll be able to capture those metrics, and we'll see that on the parts request dashboard. Okay. And then you'll notice here we're also adding the ability to mark a part as urgent, so that we can, so that a technician can notify us like, hey, I need this right now. The unit's in the shop and I need it right now, versus I'm going to pull the unit out and I'm going to wait for this part to get here. So from here, I've filled in my required information as the parts person, and I'm going to submit this over to the service advisor. Okay. And so here I've submitted it over to the service advisor, so now it's gone to a status of submitted. And then I'm going to navigate back over to Service CRM so you guys can see how the two interact. So I've got multiple roles for the purpose of demoing this, so bear with me. I'm set up as a service advisor and also a parts person. So as a parts person, we can configure the system so that I get notified and I get a task or a follow-up every time a part request is created. So I've got, this is an example of me as a parts person getting a notification saying, hey, this new part request has been created. And then what we can do is put in the notes or the description, we can actually provide them instructions. This is all customizable, so we can provide them with instructions on what they need to do next, right? And so you can almost take your SOPs and build them into your tasks so that everybody knows exactly what's expected of them every time they get a task. The details of that task will say, okay, here's what to do next. From here, I also have the ability to open the part request. So as the parts person, I was managing my parts request feed. I already went into that part request and I already submitted it to the service advisor. And so now as the service advisor, I've received a notification telling me that something requires my approval. Okay, so I can open this up. It's going to show me, I've set it up to show me the details of it so I can see exactly what the part is that's being requested for approval. And then I too can go ahead and open the part request right from here. So as a service advisor, I don't really need to navigate to the parts request feed if I don't want to. I can just manage my tasks as they come in, and not really have to have the need to go back and forth. So from here, I look at this, I see my work order job. And I can view that detail on work order on the web if I need to refamiliarize myself with this work order. But this all looks good to me. It's a pretty low dollar value, so not necessarily something that we would require customer approval. But we're going to go ahead and walk through that process anyways. So here I'm going to say this looks good. I want to go ahead and add it to the work order so that I can send it to my customer and get approval. And this is just one sample workflow that we're walking through today to give you an idea of what the system can do. So now we're going to go over to our old familiar friend G2. So let me minimize this here. So everyone should be able to see my work order that I've got open here on the screen, and somebody yell at me if they can't. So we've got a work order here, and on job 1 is where we had that special order. So I'm going to say we had that part request come in. Okay. So the part request came in. I added it to the work order from the part request itself. And so the system automatically added it as required to that job line on the work order. Now, if we didn't have this in stock, then the system could be configured to also automatically create that special order. So from here, I need to get my customer approval on this job because we've got additional costs that we weren't expecting. And this is where we can leverage eSign. So I'm going to go ahead and open the eSign window. This allows us to email this work order to our customers. So I have a couple options here. I can send actual, or in this case, I want to send the required or estimated values just for the external job lines. And I'm going to update the email address to a real email address so that I get this. I do have the ability to preview this, but we're going to see what it looks like here in just a second when the email gets sent. So I'm going to bypass the preview option, but that'll just open up a copy of the PDF so you can preview it before sending. Now, what we're sending the customer is really just a PDF of the work order with a signature line on it. It's the same version of the work order as if you were to print it. Up in the top section, you'll see now that we've got a signing request history where we can see the status of all previous signing requests. We can send this work order as many times as we need to. If we continue to add jobs to it or add additional costs to it, we can just keep sending it and getting it reapproved. So now if I jump over to my email, you'll see I've got a signing invitation. This is what it looks like from a customer perspective. So I've sent this to myself so that we can see what this looks like as a customer. I've got an invitation to sign this work order. So I'm going to go ahead and click review and sign. That will take me to the eSign website. I need to agree to the online disclosures the first time I sign as a customer. And then here is a copy of my work order showing all of my external items. And then this is going to be your T's and C's that you configure in the system. This is really just like a printed copy of your work order, your customer work order. And then here is the customer. I just need to click sign and then either click done or next and complete the signing. Once I do that, I'm going to get 2 email messages because in this scenario, I am both the service advisor and the customer. And so I'm going to get, there we go. So I'm going to get a notification telling me, the service advisor, that Mark has signed. And then as a customer, I'm going to get the option to download that document that I just signed. So that's what the 2 documents are there. And then going back to, there we go, going back here, if I refresh my status, I'll be able to see that the signing status is now complete. There we go. And so now we've completed that signing session. Now back here on the work order, I want to show you one more thing. If I go to my managed documents into my filing cabinet for this work order, we're going to see a couple things here. There we go. So there's our part right there. And then we'll just give the system one more second here because it'll also pull in a copy of that PDF that we just had signed by the customer. So I may need to give it just a few more seconds to do that, but then we'll have a copy of that signed work order attached here, as well as any pictures taken from the part request. So the Service mobile app, any pictures taken from there, as well as through the part request process, are going to be attached to this work order here. So at this point, I've got customer approval as the service advisor. So I can go ahead and complete my task here and mark that part request as approved. So here I'm going to approve that part request and hit save. And now my parts department is going to be able to see, if I look, I'll just look at my most recent, my parts department is going to be able to see this has now been approved. So I can take the next action on it, as well as I can create follow-up tasks for the parts department too, notifying me, hey, this part's been approved. So the system's very flexible. Here's an example of, hey, your part request has been approved. Here's the details. Make sure that you get it to your technician. Okay, And so really that brings us to the end of the live demo portion. Just to kind of review, we started with a technician in Service Mobile, and we requested a part, and then it went to the parts request manager where the parts department can manage all of their requests. Service CRM is where the service advisors are going to get their follow-ups, letting them know when action is needed on their part. We can e-sign it to the customer for easy approvals. Make this full screen here, and then bring it all back together, get that part approved, and we can either then order it, leveraging the special order manager, or pull that part and get it to the technician. From a workflow standpoint, once that part's on that work order, then you're just going to continue it through the process in G2, just like you do now, taking that special order, creating a purchase order, and then receiving that purchase order back into the system. So, you know, by taking these 3 items and putting them all together, we can reduce time on follow-ups. We can give managers visibility that they have never had before with all the audit logging, and we can get rid of all those paper parts requests. So technicians have better visibility, parts department has better visibility, service, everybody has better visibility, and we aren't losing things. At this point, we're going to go to the Q&A, and it looks like we have one question so far, which is, can Part Request Manager be added without Service CRM? And no, it cannot. We have built those as a bundled package, and the two are a single offering together. Do we have any other questions from the group? I'll give it just. Does the info go directly? For parts requests, does the info go directly to the parts manager? I got to make this bigger so I can see it. There we go. For parts requests, does the info go directly to the parts manager so he or she can dole it out to one of their parts advisors? Great question. So that we don't currently have the system configured that way to where the manager has to assign tasks out, but rather everything goes into the part request feed. We have the ability to filter it by user, which is the advisor typically, and we can parse things out by bill type, for example. So if you have somebody who just focuses on warranty, then they can see all the part requests related to warranty. And we've also added work order category as well. So if you have a body shop, for example, and you have somebody who just wants to focus on the needs for the body shop. Yeah, great question. Does the tech get an alert if I DM them on a part request? Yes. So what's key there is making sure that notifications are turned on within that Service Mobile app, and they will get whatever notifications you have configured within your app settings, whether that's a pop-up notification or a banner. And in addition to that, there's a notification center within the mobile app where you can see all of the recent incoming messages as well. Okay, I see one question here. If I want a deeper look or more information, who do I contact? Okay, awesome. Well, let me just pull this screen up here. So we will, like I mentioned, we will send a recording afterwards as well if you want to share it with other people internally. If you want to do a deeper dive and a more in-depth demo and you want to schedule that with us, then just reach out to your account manager. Or you can call our general sales line, which I've just put up on the screen. Just had one more question come in that said, if a work order has several job lines and needs multiple parts, does Part Request Manager make one request, or does it generate a request for each part needed? The answer to that question is that it generates a request for each part needed, so that each part can be individually approved or denied. Okay, I'm gonna watch the question feed here. We'll give it just a few more seconds. Okay. So in closing, really, I just want to thank everyone for their time today. Oh, wait, hold on. I might have one more question. Do parts advisors need mobile app to handle parts requests, or does the request come into G2? So the parts people will need a parts request manager license. So the part request itself is managed through that 360, in that 360 environment, that web-based environment. And so from a licensing standpoint, that's what your account manager will help you work through, is what your licensing needs are. But the parts requests are all handled within the parts request manager on the web, not in G2. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Please, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to your either sales at ids-asher.com or your account manager. We'd be happy to schedule follow-ups with you. Really appreciate everyone's time today, and that's it for now.